Good afternoon, everyone. I was trying to take a quick attendance based on who is signed on. So Jackie has written down who is in attendance today. We have 28 people logged on, but many of those are probably couples too. So this is a really great turnout. So welcome to our first virtual Zoom meeting. This is my very first, when I'm the host anyways, so this is exciting and really nice that we can get together such a big group. So just some information about how it works. So all of you are muted right now. If you have questions during what I'm saying, I would ask you to type a question into the chat box so I can have the questions towards the end of that section and I can answer those questions as we go. There is the hand raise mechanism. So sometimes I might hold off on those to the end as well. I do ask you to put questions into the chat box though. And I think that's kind of it for this behind the scenes stuff. We'll see if I realize anything else. So in the room here, I have Jackie, who is our note taker there. And Jim is also on the other opposite side. I can't turn that far, but Jim is with us as well. And he will pop in here for a portion. So I think we are ready to just dive right in here. Kind of in our typical fashion in terms of our agenda, I'll just go through our different areas. Oh, and the other thing too is that this will be posted on our YouTube channel and you can always come in here if you want to watch it in here, or you can rewatch it anytime if you need to log off early or anything. I did have some folks say that they would be late and I told them just hop on and see if we're still live. So let's dive in. Here's our marketing and sales update. You might think it would be tough during a pandemic to sell cottages, but we are cruising right along. As some of you may have noticed, we did have Joan Sapelli move into cottage number 3 yesterday. So a warm welcome for her. You won't see her in the clubhouse. She does have to keep a little low key for 14 days. But welcome her to the community in your regular fashion. I never worry about that at all because everyone here is so welcoming. So that's Joan in cottage number 3. Some of you inquired about the Joan on the birthday list, and that is our new resident Joan with an August birthday. Other than that, we have some cottages reserved. The reserved cottages are number 33, number 34, and number 25. So we're looking at move-ins the next couple months here. And then our only cottage left after that is number 44. So people were chomping at the bits to get in here to tour when we finally could. And we are having a lot of activity in that realm. So in terms of events, can't do much for events. Some of you may have noticed that we participated in some virtual event series along with Chelsea Retirement Community. So those were certainly interesting and a learning experience for us. We had some waitlist folks that were in on those virtual presentations, so it was kind of neat. Unfortunately, our big summer event, which is Dexter Days, is canceled. So we will look forward to that next year when hopefully we can all gather in a big festival like that. So events in general are kind of up in the air right now to see what we are allowed to do. But we are also feeling pretty good about where we are and what we have coming the next few months in terms of those move-ins. So we're feeling really good about that. And Jackie has done a phenomenal job on that. I don't have any questions in the chat box. Don't have any hands raised. Does anyone have any marketing or sales questions for me? Oh. Okay, I think Dave is going to talk here. Dave Howard. Oh, hold on. Give me just a second. I think you're muted, Dave. Can you unmute?
Yes.
There we go.
You said Joan moved into cottage 3. Who is it, Joan in cottage 1?
Okay, so we have a bit of J craziness going on. So cottage number 1 is Joanne, and she moved in, I guess that was June. Joanne moved in June. And number 3, Joan, Joan, is in number 3. And next month brings another Janet, but I won't even confuse us right now. So cottage number 1 is Joanne. She is new. Cottage number 3 is Joan, and she is new. So, Tom, do you have a question? And you need to unmute.
Okay, am I unmuted?
Yes, you are.
We see work is being done on Norma's place. Does that mean that her place is eventually going to be back up, ready to go?
Yes, so the work being completed in Norma's cottage, we hope is completed very soon, which is why we say number 44 is available.
Okay, I see. Thanks.
And Dave might have another question. Dave, are you all set? Okay. Oh. Can you all type your questions for me? That would be helpful. Okay, we are going to go ahead and move to the activities, fitness, events update. It was nice to have an August calendar and helps us to feel a little bit organized too. So just want to go through a couple things that you'll see on your calendar. We have Donut Delivery Day is this coming Monday. That's August 10th. And so that one, I believe, which has happened before, everyone will receive a glazed donut. And so you don't need to be outside or anything like you did for the popsicle pop by, but everyone will get a donut whether you're available outside or not. So that will be nice, a little sweet treat in the morning. The next thing you'll see is the hot dog handout day. So I did pass out a flyer or emailed a flyer that lets you know how that works. So it's a 2-hour period from 3 to 5 on August 18th. We'll have it out here in the front parking lot so we can have plenty of room. But there is a layout in terms of when each cottage should come. So be sure to check out the flyer. Essentially 3 to 3:30 is cottages 1 through 15. 3:30 to 4 o'clock is cottages 16 through 30. 4 o'clock is cottages 31 through 45, and 4:30 is cottages 46 through 60. So come on in and come on in and listen to some music. We'll have some live music as well, and you'll enjoy a hot dog and chips. But we're still making sure our crowds are a bit controlled, and that's why we wanted to space out and stagger those cottages. And Dave asked, why am I wearing a mask? And should you all be wearing masks? I'm wearing a mask because there's other people in here. But you know, we love to see your masks at all times. Okay, some other fitness stuff. A lot of exercise happening now. You have your Monday morning and Wednesday morning yoga classes, and those are seem to be going well. And then for August, we have our Tuesday and Thursday 10:30 and 11:30 classes. So I think a lot of you were there yesterday to kind of see how that will go, and just a little bit more in terms of kind of what they're doing at the classes. And it is Cynthia teaching, which is really nice to see her. So the 10:30 class is more of an aerobic type class and standing, a little more cardio, whereas the 11:30 class will be mostly seated and more of a stretch and balance type class. So same idea as what Sherry did in terms of kind of the different types of classes. But Cynthia really does her own routines, and she was excited to go home yesterday and start working on new routines. So hopefully we'll see more of you tomorrow. And we have really good crowds for that. And we do temperature checks when you arrive also. So everyone's been very cooperative with that. And thank you for that. I did just want to touch on the new step that is out, and in the learning studio there, we kind of angled it towards the TV. If anyone wanted to turn on the TV and enjoy that. I haven't seen anybody doing that yet, but if you needed help getting that on too, we'd be happy to show you. So how the signups work, it's essentially, I opened up 2 slots between when a staff member can clean it. So I think some people will think it's important to know when is the next time that it's going to be cleaned by a staff member. So I wanted to make that very clear to people. And then that is when our team is committing and is able to clean it. I think it is okay if people come and use the new step at times other than what is available on the sign-up sheet. But really, to be aware, a staff member will not be able to clean it if it is not on the sheet, and to be very responsible and respectful of your neighbors, to be sure to clean it very well yourself before and after use. And that goes for whenever anyone uses it. So it has been nice to see folks already in there using it. Okay, be sure to type your questions if you have a question. Just checking. Oh, I skipped an activity. We're going around with the bar cart on August 26th. So I think I did a 2 to 4 o'clock time frame there. So that one is a little bit different, like the popsicle one. If you are outside, we are stopping the cart for you. So, you know, don't flock to us in the street or anything. Just hang out on your porch and we'll know to stop. And last time I was just honking the horn to remind people. So come on out and we'll take loops and loops and loops around. So it won't be that we're going in any kind of order. We're just looking for people out on their porch. Have a question from a resident. Is the exercise room open? No, the exercise room is not open. The only way we are able to use the new step is if it is in a different area. So that is why the new step is in the learning studio. And that's why you see all the other equipment is still caution taped off. We are still not allowed to use that particular fitness area. So right now, just the new step is available. Let me see. Okay, Marge Becker, I believe, has a question and she needs to unmute.
You got me?
Gotcha.
Okay. I think it's a wonderful move in a positive direction to make the new step available. And it seems to me that I'm guessing, and so correct me, that the reason why it's being isolated unto itself is that it then can be cleaned, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm wondering, could any of the residents, could we volunteer to be a sanitizer or a guard or something to help, so that we might be able to sign up and use some of the other equipment if we can, either have a lesson on sanitizing or contribute something that more of us could gain access to other pieces of equipment in the fitness room.
Okay, good question. So the reason I moved the new step out of the area is because it's a loophole, and if it's not in the fitness area, we can use it. But when I start having multiple pieces of equipment in one area, it becomes yet another fitness area. So I wanted to start slow and see what we can do moving forward. We talked about putting a bike in a different location or something like that. We haven't come up with any grand plans for that yet. In terms of anyone volunteering, standing guard, I certainly don't think is necessary. Volunteers for cleaning, really that could be on anyone's own volition. Part of this too is that it's hard for us to organize more things as for staff members to maintain, whether it's a sign up sheet or whatever it is. So I really wanted to keep it simple on our end to make sure that we can maintain that for you. Anyone that wants to come in and do just a little helpful cleaning can use those exercise wipes right there. But the other side of it is too, I think that our residents are really responsible and respectful. And I think before any of this started, people were already wiping down equipment before and after use. So I think we're all taking care of each other in that realm. And at this time, I am not able to bring in any other pieces of equipment, whether it's weights or anything else.
So is it an issue of a piece of machinery, a piece of equipment has to somehow or other have its own cage or isolation unit? Or I'm not capturing, that was your very first statement had to do with you moved the new step because wherever the new step is considered, or wherever a piece of equipment room is that's considered a room? Or are you saying each piece of equipment would have to have its own room?
I'd have to strategically place fitness equipment in different areas of the building to make them far away from one another and not technically in fitness areas.
So it's not just the 6 or 10 feet distance.
Correct. Correct.
It's more than that, more than 6 or 10 feet? Oh, okay.
Yep. So I'm taking it kind of step by step. And
who in our governmental agency dreamed up that law?
well, that's still part of the executive order for retirement communities, but also for gyms in general, that gyms and fitness centers cannot be open.
So we send our darts to Queen Gretchen?
I hate to send darts her way, but but it's not us.
I don't mind. I'll be glad to. I'll volunteer.
Okay, a good question from Naveen in my chat. She's asking about bingo. Thank you for saying that, Naveen. I didn't even have it on my list somehow, but we do have outdoor bingo the next 2 Mondays. So the 10th and 17th, bingo on the patio. And Dawn, our volunteer, is very excited to come back. And she was working on some really creative prizes for you all. So that'll be fun. I think I had it for 3 o'clock. Yes. 3 o'clock on the patio the next 2 Mondays. Thank you, Naveen. And just another note on the activity calendar, you'd see a couple things that I normally don't add in there. I added on some neat virtual events that are live and happening through a couple local libraries. So you did see some things that aren't going on here, but I thought would be kind of neat to some people here. And I just wanted to make sure you knew about them since we don't have as many things going on. So I think we about covered it there. Does anyone have any other activity or event questions? Okay, perfect. So let me just do a couple things about dining because some things happened over this past week. So we switched to the new receipts, caused quite a glitch for our folks on billing cycle number 1 and billing cycle number 2. So, you know, probably about 40 residents or so, but that has all been corrected. So some of you, if you just entered a new quarter, or I can't remember exactly how it fell for you folks in the billing cycles, but that is all corrected. So be sure to take a look at your receipt this evening if you get a meal, or this week when you get your next meal, because you should be back to normal in terms of how your receipt looks and how much money you have and all of that. So I know I talked to a lot of you about it and it is fixed. So just let us know if you still have issues with that through this week. And just something to put on your radar that was not on the August calendar, we are doing a live virtual Zoom dining update. And we will have some really neat information to share and just kind of, and you know, our typical feedback meeting as we always do. It will be live and virtual August 19th at 1 p.m. So that's something to mark your calendar. So it's a Wednesday, and on Monday, again, I will send out this link for how you log on, and I'll put it out there. Send me topics, which some of you already did, so thank you. And then the day of, again, I will send out the link as we did today. So August 19th at 1 o'clock. And you will have virtually myself and Anne Marie and Chef Mark. Okay. Okay, so just a couple random admin things. We have your flu shot clinics tentatively scheduled, a couple dates in October. And if some of you may know, there is a new pharmacy in town. So we want to support that new local business, and that's Jensen Pharmacy. And I'm not biased based on the last name, but we wanted to give him the chance to come in for this. So that's in October. You'll see those dates, but just so you know what's happening there. Okay. I have some maintenance things, some landscaping. I saw a couple comments in my chat. Let me do just a general maintenance update first. I'll have Jim jump in here in just a minute. Just an update on our pillar painting. So I hope some folks noticed in the clubhouse too, that the clubhouse has been painted with the exception of our offices right now. So we still have that to do inside. But at the moment, they are focused outside on painting the cottage pillars. And so you've seen them working on that for a long time. It is a long project. Some cottages take 4 hours, some cottages take 6 hours. So it's a long project. They are still plugging along. I was asked kind of the path at which they're going. We've had to reroute them a couple times based on things that we have going on. So I wouldn't say it's a clear-cut pattern. And if your home hasn't been done yet, it will certainly be done too. So still working on that. And it is just a lengthy project, but it is much needed. I wanted to touch on work orders. We have a lot of work orders coming in right now and have for probably the past 2 months. And Jim and John are setting records with how many work orders they're completing each month, because we track that. Something that we would like to request of you all that I think would help keep us a bit organized is requesting only one thing per work order ticket. So one request per ticket. What's happening is the gentlemen doing our maintenance, Jim and John, are having to prioritize these work orders, of course. And maybe item number 1 on your list of 5 is really high priority and goes into the high priority pile, but the other ones aren't so much. So it just gets confusing since we do have to prioritize the ones that are really kind of dire to get done. So that is our current request, is that we do one work order per sheet, and that would really help us. And we are doing our best to plug along with those, and they've been doing a great job to do that. Trying to see if we're ready for Jim yet. A quick question on the chat. When can we get our carpets cleaned? So folks, reach out to us if you want your carpets cleaned. Each cottage, if you're newer, you might not know that your cottage is eligible for a carpet cleaning annually. So if you aren't sure when's the last time you had yours done, you can reach out to us and we can see when's the best time to get it scheduled. You are able to get that provided by the Cedars annually. So just reach out if you are inquiring and would like to get that scheduled. We are happy to do that. We try to do a few of them at a time. So when we have a list of a few people, we schedule him to come out and do a couple cottages at a time. So just let us know. We have some folks on the list right now. So good question. I wanted to talk about some tree removals. Maybe you've seen some trees marked recently, whether it's large trees, you know, that have been here for a really long time, but also some in our landscaping beds, some of the sidewalk street trees. So we have been working on removing some dead trees, and that will continue for a while. So in some areas, if there's a street tree that was removed, sometimes it's not the best area to put another one in, depending on how the irrigation flows and how big the space is. So just because a tree comes out doesn't mean a tree is going back in. It all depends. And we just want to make sure that we're picking trees in areas where they're going to be long lasting and that we're not going to run into the same problem again. So just a heads up on that, but we'll have a company here soon to take down some of those larger trees. So you will see some people on the property other than our landscaping crew to do some of those larger ones soon. Okay, I'm pulling Jim in because we are doing a smoke detector project aside from what we've already been doing, and I'm going to have Jim come in so he can really explain the technicalities behind that.
Hello, everybody. Just want to give you a quick update what we've been working on. There's two things actually. There's the smoke detectors one, but first the things I do want to address are the the communicator boxes that are in the garages. Those will soon to be expiring. I do believe it is January 1st, 2022. And we are reaching that moment quickly, although lately it seems a lot slower than normal, but we will be there. And what we need to do is we need to address that. And I'm working with All-Star, and they are putting together, and they have put together a package deal, which is going to be saving us quite a bit of money to put new communicators in the garages. When they are here, they will also be updating the smoke alarm system. What we have been experiencing again this year is a frequent calls to the fire department by smoke detectors going off early in the morning. And we just don't want to wake you folks up early in the morning with a false alarm. And we don't want to wake up the fire department and get them out here at 3 in the morning just to say, you know, let's go back home. So what we decided to do is we're going to use a smoke detector. We're going to place one in the cottages. At this moment, we don't know exactly where they're going to be. Once All-Star has the equipment, they will be on site, and we'll determine that when they're here. We'll have one smoke detector. It'll be a low voltage smoke detector, and it's the only one that's going to communicate with the system. We are leaving the original smoke detectors in place, but they will not be hooked up to the annunciator or the communication box that sends a signal out to the command central station. So if the smoke alarms do go off, we'll determine on that date what we're going to do with those detectors. But in the meantime, we'll have no more false alarms, or that's the idea. So that date of installation is still to be determined. They're working on the getting the smoke alarms and the communicators as we speak in-house, and they will contact Nellie or myself with a date that we can continue to on with this project. So that's all I really have on that wise. You know, I would imagine, you know, within a month or so, I would imagine that's the time frame we're looking at to start this project. All right.
Yeah, there were some real special words there I wanted him to be sure to use for you. Okay. So something in the chat box here and something that needed to be brought up was lawn care this year. So as you know, we have a new company this year, and we've seen some differences in how our lawn is being cared for and the ways they're doing it. Some general complaints have come in that weekly we've kind of had to address. So we're working with this lawn care company. It's a learning curve for sure, in terms of getting them to know our community, how we like things, the high standard at which we like things. So we really appreciate people's feedback and kind of letting us know what you're seeing. That does help us out a lot. And you know, they're here Tuesdays, and it made it hard for our exercise class yesterday. So I'm glad that everyone was patient with that. But just thank you for your feedback on that. And anytime you have things like that to share, just continue to let us know. And we're working with them to try to improve this as the season continues here. Okay, I'm all caught up in the chat box. I don't have any hands raised at the moment, right? Okay, so very important. What time is the bar cart scheduled? I want to say on August 26th, it's from 2 to 4 p.m. Okay, 2 to 4 p.m. And again, we're just driving around the area. So be out on your porch. And I have a hand raised. Hold on just a moment. Daryl, I think you can unmute and go ahead.
Okay, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, I wanted to ask Jim, where will this single smoke detector be located, and how do we guarantee that all the rooms are covered?
So if Jim has anything to add, I'll let him add, but he did say that we're not sure where the main one will be installed yet. It will depend when All-Star is here, where they recommend to put it. Your current smoke detectors will still act as smoke detectors. They just will not communicate with our command center. If that was that, okay. Does that make sense, Daryl? Took me a couple times.
I didn't realize from what Jim said that the others would be active. I thought he implied that they would not be active. You just didn't want to leave a whole lot of holes in the ceiling and take them out.
No, they will still act as smoke detectors do. They just will not communicate with the panel and our system. Would you answer that?
So they'll make the noise.
They will
They'll
make the noise.
and we'll
Yeah.
have to go turn them off at the box.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
It's not a big difference, I don't think.
Hold on, I might have another hand raise. I'm trying to go through. Okay, and just a quick comment. That I'm back to the lawn care here. A comment that they're not blowing off the driveways and the back porches and the patios. That's one of those general complaints that we have received that we are working with them to make sure they are doing that better for us. Are they ones that would help with crabgrass? No. We are looking into that to see what can be done in terms of crabgrass or areas that might need more grass seed. So that would not be through them, but it's something that we are investigating too. And I think I have a hand raised. Mary Ann Meaden, if you want to unmute.
My concern was, and Jim tried to take care of it, or he did call and tried to take care of it on the lawn situation. And it did work for a while, but then the gal that knew about this, she was injured. So we have a new crew and they don't realize it, but their lawnmowers are too big to go between. I don't have that much grass. And it goes into the wood chip and then to the mud underneath my front windows of my patio. There's not enough grass. And so what he does is he goes through, but he lifts up the blade so they're not cutting the grass.
Okay.
I don't know why he lifts it, but I see him do it. So, and then over across my wood chip area, they planted new grass and see, they forget to cut that. So those are the concerns, but I can tell you personally, I mean, you know.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
And it's tough. I know some people knew one of the main gals had broken her ankle, which was unfortunate. I think a lot of these manual labor companies, all these different vendors, a lot of people that we work with the past few months all through this, they've been having a lot of staffing difficulties as well. So, you know, we're giving them grace, but we also want to make sure that our community is taken care of as well. So all of the feedback with this is very, very much appreciated. Okay. Anything else while I have Jim, before I send him away, is there anything else for Jim? Okay, perfect. A little note from Paul. I know Connie's on today, but Paul is not. And Paul wanted to make sure we had a little CRT, care response team update. So he's on another Zoom meeting actually. So, so Paul said not much from care response team right now. And the way they've been helping people has been a little bit different the past few months. But they have continued to hear of these small acts of kindness and caring for one another that has continued over the months. And they wanted to make sure a big kudos came to Nancy Shuey and Heidi Ford and all of our people that are helping out in the cutting garden. Folks are so happy to receive these little bouquets that come straight from the property and straight from our residents. So he said just receiving one of those is such a nice lift. And the care response team philosophy of caring for your neighbors has carried through the Cedars community. We haven't tracked all of these acts, but we have heard about them and usually from grateful recipients. Thank you for all of your thoughtfulness. So again, it's very nice that we have this self-organized group here at the Cedars. And some of our new folks, as we get acclimated, we'll be excited to tell them more about the group and maybe have some new volunteers for our CRT. Okay, so that is from Paul. I didn't have anything. out of the ordinary that anyone wanted to speak about, but did have a question regarding perhaps a further credit from the Cedars. Concern that the lifestyle that they are used to here at the Cedars has not been able to be maintained over the past 4 months or however many months. And will we be given more of a credit? So as you all know by now, you were given a housekeeping credit. Every cottage was granted that. So that was very nice. And I thought with that question that it might be good for me to review what actually does your monthly service fee cover. So when you pay your monthly fees, we are putting it towards 6 things. And we have different percentages of each. And the percentage varies depending on the time of year, the different communities, and this is UMRC Porter Hills as a whole. So this is what your monthly service fees goes towards. Wages and wage-related expenses, interest and depreciation, property taxes, food services, environmental services, which is your grounds, your utilities, maintenance, housekeeping, and then supplies and other. So I thought that breakdown was really helpful for people because maybe they didn't realize that, it is a strategic breakdown in terms of what your dollars are covering every month. So during the past 4 months, we really haven't cut expenses. In terms of wages, we have paid all of the same amount of people here. Obviously, thinking about something like your property taxes, obviously that's not something we're receiving any kind of discount on, or I'm thinking of it even at my house, my property taxes. Maybe I can't go to the Secretary of State like I normally would. Maybe the policemen and the firemen aren't going on as many calls or something like that. Schools aren't open, but I'm not getting any kind of discount on my property taxes at my house. So it's the same here, we're still paying those property taxes the same amount. In an area like dining services, it was interesting for me to look into this because although you were receiving your meals a lot differently, there were certain things that we actually saw increases on. So like many of you had been aware of, it was very hard for us to get the things we usually get from our suppliers. So again, supply and demand. A lot of those food costs actually went up for us during those times and was a lot harder for us to get. All of our maintenance folks still completing maintenance. We're still doing all of the things in this clubhouse that we need. We're keeping the lights on. The landscaping is still being done. That wasn't halted very long. We're still paying on all of those contracts. So kind of thinking about that you want the Cedars to be able to maintain and be a viable business unit. And if we are providing credits to our residents on things that we were still paying, we're not going to be viable anymore. The other thing to take into consideration that we were not allowed to have people move in. We were not allowed to have people come and tour. So thinking of kind of a halt on additional revenue, something to consider that was tough for us. So it has been tough on UMRC and Porter Hills as a whole. We are all doing very well, and I know that it has been, the wildest and most unpredictable past 4 months, 5 months, however long this has been now. But it's kind of that we're all in this together and we all want to support each other, and we want to keep providing things to you, even if it's in very different ways than we did before. But I think over the past few months, you've seen a lot of creativity from people, a lot of people going above and beyond, obviously people going completely outside of their roles in terms of what they do daily. So I hope you all can understand that, and I know it is hard because, you know, a lot of these things were why you came to the Cedars, but we want to make sure that there is a Cedars still. So I just wanted to explain that a little bit further for people. And I hope it's helpful anyways to understand that a little bit more. On the topic of folks going above and beyond and wearing different hats, I wanted to show off something here. This is called a POM Award. It's a Promoting Our Mission Award that was awarded to Jackie Snyder. And I'm going to show her here as much as she doesn't want it.
I don't want it. Thank you.
So Jackie was nominated by a resident for all of the work that she did while she was, you know, basically running the building here. And just kudos to Jackie for everything that she did, all of the coordination, but mostly her attitude all throughout, which was positive and helpful and happy. So I need to thank Jackie very much as well. And a here in the chat box. Okay, great. So that's all that's on my list. We are taking notes here, and this is recording right now for all of you to get. Are there any hand raises? Are there any other questions in the chat? Just give a moment here. It takes a minute to come through. Okay, Louise French, you can unmute.
Am I there? Yes, I am.
Yep.
The underground watering system is still not predictable and working. So we need some attention to that. For instance, we weren't watered last night and we should have been. Across the street has frequently does not get watered. So I just wanted to give that a heads up to you.
Okay, you said across the street, and was it your front or your back?
Oh, the front. I don't know about the back.
Okay. All right, that's good to know. You know, as you know, if you've been here a while, occasionally something
been
can
very
either go
bad.
wrong with the clock in the timer, or certain heads can be broken. So anytime you all notice something like that, thank you, Louise. That is really good for us to look into. Okay, I don't have any hand raises. Let me just share something. Uh-oh. Let me try to share something. I don't know if that works. Okay, I'm trying to share my screen. Get this out of here. Can you see? Oh, we probably, okay. So at the top is Noah recently in his bath towel and in his chair. And then on the bottom, we have Cameron. He convinced me to go get donuts this past weekend. And we pulled out our kayak and he thought that was pretty cool. So we are doing well at home. And I'm so excited for when I can bring Noah in to meet some people. He's a really happy little guy. In terms of tricks, not doing too much. He's not rolling yet, but he is doing a lot of smiling and a lot of laughing and eating very well too. So just wanted to share a little update with you there. And I want to get back to the chat box here. Does anyone have anything else they would like to cover? Okay, I think our first Zoom meeting was a success. Thank you. At one point we had 30 people that attended. It has gone down a little bit now, but thank you so much for coming, everyone. And hopefully we can get a big turnout on the dining one on the 19th, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.